They thought they buried you, but they forgot you were roots breaking concrete. My dear chosen ones, let me speak straight into your bones. The way they treated you was not just unfair, it was disgusting. And the irony? Even strangers looking in from the sidelines can see it for what it is. The ones who swore loyalty spat poison. The ones who smiled in your face were sharpening knives behind your back. They thought their whispers could define you. They thought their gossip could erase you. But chosen ones, listen closely. What they really did was light a fire under your rise. You ask, why did they pick me? Why the lies? Why the smear? And here's the truth. They targeted you because you rattled their comfort without even trying. You didn't follow their script. You didn't shrink to fit their shadows. You stood too tall, too clear, too unshakable. And when people live in illusions, the clearest presence feels like a threat. You weren't a target because you were weak. You became their target because you were the current running through the room. Think of it this way. No one throws stones at an empty house. No one wastes venom on someone irrelevant. They came for you because you were movement, because you were proof, because you were chosen. Lies travel fast, but truth shows up and stays. Remember that. They slung dirt, thinking it would bury you. Instead, it became the soil feeding your roots. Every rumor was water. Every dagger behind your back was wind toughening your bark. They thought they were breaking you, but what they really did was season you. And yes, my chosen ones, it stings. It cuts when the people you broke bread with are the very ones who twist the knife. You wonder, was I blind? Did I miss the signs? But betrayal doesn't expose your weakness. It exposes their fear. They feared your light. They feared your calm. They feared that you could walk into the same room without begging, without bowing, and still shift the atmosphere. Understand this. Their behavior isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a confession of their insecurity. They wore masks of loyalty, but those masks cracked the moment your glow reminded them of everything they never became. And now the whole world is watching their collapse, because falsehood doesn't stand under pressure. Chosen ones, the power in you isn't loud. It doesn't need applause or validation. That's why it terrifies them. You don't stomp your feet to prove power. You breathe, and walls start shaking. You move, and illusions crumble. Your silence has already exposed what their speeches tried to cover. Even storms know when to bow to a mountain. That's you. You are the mountain. You didn't ask for this fight, but here you are, still standing, still rising, while they choke on the very lies they spun. Strangers see it. Observers see it. And most importantly, you need to see it. You didn't just survive, chosen ones. You turned their disgust into your confirmation. So stop asking, why me? Start telling yourself, because I was built for this. The pain was real, the betrayal was sharp, but the rise is undeniable. You weren't made to blend in. You weren't made to bow. You weren't made to carry their fragile egos on your back. You were made to disrupt, to reveal, to rise. They thought they had the last word, but the pen was never in their hands. And now, my chosen ones, the chapter begins where their illusions end. And before we go further, thank you, my chosen ones. The way they treated you was disgusting, and yet here you are, still rising, still unshaken. Even strangers can see the injustice and feel the outrage, but only the chosen understand the deeper meaning behind it. If you're ready to turn their cruelty into fuel, if you're ready to wear their betrayal as proof of your power, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop 77 in the comments so every other chosen one knows they are not alone in this battle. Your support through Super Thanks means the world and keeps this voice alive. And now, let's dive into it step by step, because believe me, if you're truly chosen, you'll feel these words vibrating in your bones. These aren't random experiences. These are the exact signs that mark you as different, as rare, as unstoppable. Ordinary people don't get these trials. Chosen ones do. Let's get started. Number 1. When they strike at you, they unleash their own collapse. They thought dragging your name through the mud would bury you, but instead it fertilized the ground beneath your feet. My dear chosen ones, hear me clearly. The way they treated you was never about weakness on your side. It was always about the fear that your strength stirred in them. They twisted your name, spun their lies, and whispered their rehearsed rumors, hoping the noise would drown out your light. What they didn't realize is that every lie they told became oxygen for your fire. They thought they were cutting you down, but chosen ones, you weren't wilting, you were blazing. You wonder, why me? Why did they pick me to betray, to slander, to exile? And the answer is simple, because your integrity rattled their illusions. The moment you stood still, refusing to bow to their games, you became a mirror they couldn't bear to face. Their lies weren't really about you. They were about silencing their own reflection. That's why their attacks were so precise, so quiet, so cloaked in fake smiles and polite tones. Cowards never swing in the open. They sabotage from the shadows. They wear masks of concern, speak in whispers, and call their betrayal wisdom. But you, chosen ones, didn't break. And that fact alone is eating them alive. They thought your silence was defeat. They thought your stillness meant surrender. What they missed is that you were sinking with a larger force, aligning with a rhythm that moves mountains without sound. You didn't need to fight dirty, because truth itself was moving in your favor. They tried to cancel you, but forgot your stamp of purpose wasn't signed by them. That's why their whole scheme looks like a circus now. Screenshots can be edited, narratives can be fabricated, but your presence, your track record, your very endurance, those things can't be erased. And now, even strangers who never shook your hand can see it. They're outraged, because mistreatment this obvious exposes itself. Chosen ones, betrayal didn't ruin you. It purified you. It stripped away what couldn't rise with you. Every name that dropped off, every hand that turned cold, was a weight you weren't meant to carry into your next season. They thought they were punishing you. They were actually preparing you. What left wasn't loyal. What stayed was solid. And what comes next, that's the part they can't control. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it cut. But every scar is proof you survived the fire without burning. You are not fragile glass. They couldn't shatter you. You are tempered steel, forged in their own flames. The smear was never about who you are. It was about who they feared you were becoming. And now, the same tongues that cursed your name are trembling, because your rise is undeniable. Let them pretend they won. Let them laugh in circles of smoke. Their framework is rotting from the inside, because no structure built on lies stands forever. What they built on whispers is crumbling under your silence. You didn't have to scream. You didn't have to strike back. Just showing up, still standing, was enough. And that, chosen ones, is the kind of victory they can't explain away. Stop asking, did I do something wrong? You didn't. Their treatment was never about your failure. It was about your power. You were born to disrupt, reveal, and rebuild. They tried playing chess with you, not realizing you weren't just another piece on the board. You are the board. You are the strategy. You are the move they never saw coming. So let them choke on their own narratives. Let them sit puzzled at your survival. You don't need their applause. You don't need their validation. What you carry is heavier than their approval, sharper than their schemes, and stronger than their resistance. You are not just surviving, chosen ones, you are blazing. And their disgust, their betrayal, their lies, those are the ashes beneath your rise. Number 2. Alignment that shakes systems and bends reality. They thought their games could hold you down, but alignment doesn't bow to schemes. It bends reality around the one who stands firm. My dear chosen ones, the way they treated you was disgusting. They tried to twist your story, smear your name, and make you doubt yourself. But here's the part they never calculated. You are aligned. And when someone chosen aligns with truth, everything false begins to crack. Walls they built to cage, you start to shake. Systems they trusted begin to wobble. Their entire structure bends under the weight of your presence, because alignment doesn't play fair. It rewrites the rules. You wonder, why does it feel like the whole world turned against me when I did nothing wrong? That's because when your life steps into alignment, every lie, every fraud, every false connection is forced to reveal itself. People show their real faces. Relationships collapse. Paths shift. And yes, it hurts. But it's not destruction. It's rearrangement. Alignment is bending reality to clear your way. They called it your downfall, but it was really their exposure. Look closely. Their whispers only uncovered their own insecurity. Their sabotage only revealed how fragile their grip was. And while they were laughing at your silence was tearing down their illusions brick by brick. They thought you were losing, chosen one. In truth, you were shaking entire systems without lifting a hand. That's the power of alignment. It doesn't scream. It doesn't announce itself. It moves like an earthquake under the surface, shifting everything they thought was secure. And you, chosen ones, are the epicenter. The treatment they gave you wasn't just betrayal, it was proof you hit a frequency too strong for them to stand. So hear me clearly, you don't need revenge, you don't need to prove yourself. Your alignment is the weapon. Every step you take in truth bends reality closer to your rise and pushes falsehood further into collapse. Let them scramble, let them patch their crumbling walls. They can't fight what's woven into the fabric of the universe. Alignment always wins. Stand tall, chosen ones. Their treatment was disgusting, yes, but it was also the sound of systems shaking. And the louder it rattles, the clearer it is. You are exactly where you're meant to be. Number 3, lies, betrayal, and the fire that exposes them all. Every lie they told was a spark, and sparks can't help but ignite a blaze they can't control. My dear chosen ones, the lies they spread about you weren't just words. They were confessions of their own fear, their own weakness, their own inability to stand in your light. Betrayal wasn't a mistake. It was calculated. Smiles to your face, poison in your absence. Handshakes in public, daggers in private. They thought their whispered rumors and polished performances would bury you beneath doubt. But chosen ones, what they failed to see is that deception always burns the liar before it ever consumes the target. You ask yourself, why did they betray me when I gave them loyalty? Why twist my name when I offered truth? The answer is simple. Your presence reminded them of everything they weren't willing to become. You showed integrity in a room full of masks, and that rattled them. You stood solid while they bent with every gust of convenience. You didn't expose them with your words. You exposed them by simply existing. And for people built on illusion, that's unbearable. They rehearsed their betrayal like a play, scripts of gossip, performances of concern, subtle sabotage passed off as advice. They thought this performance would convince the crowd, and for a moment, maybe it did. But fire has a way of revealing what's real. Screenshots can be doctored, stories can be twisted, but consistency, that can't be faked. Truth stands steady while lies eventually collapse under their own weight. Chosen ones, understand this. Betrayal is never about your worth. It's proof of theirs, or lack of it. Every rumor they launched at you is fuel. Every whisper behind your back is kindling. And now, the fire they lit is roaring too high for them to contain. Even strangers, people who never knew you personally, are starting to see through the cracks. The outrage is spreading because injustice always exposes itself in the end. So don't shrink. Don't apologize for being too much, too honest, too steady. They didn't betray you because you were wrong. They betrayed you because you were undeniable. The fire is here, and it isn't consuming you. It's consuming every illusion they built. Stand tall, chosen ones. Watch the flames do what they were always meant to do. Expose, purify, and leave only truth standing. Number 4. Endurance forged into unstoppable power. Pressure doesn't break the chosen. It sharpens them into weapons no one dares face. My dear chosen ones, listen closely. Every moment they thought they could crush you, every insult whispered behind your back, every opportunity stolen, it was forging a force they could never understand. They watched, thinking your endurance was a weakness. They believed that if they pushed long enough, you would shatter. Oh, how mistaken they were. You weren't fragile glass. They underestimated the steel hidden in your spirit. They didn't see that every slight, every betrayal, every smear they cast upon your name was tempering your resolve, building a power so relentless that even the universe nods in recognition. You've felt the burn, haven't you? The loneliness that gnaws at midnight, the isolation when everyone else seemed to turn their back, the weight of carrying truths others fear to speak. That's the crucible, chosen ones. That's where ordinary breaks and extraordinary rises. They mistook your silence for submission, but what they didn't realize is that endurance isn't passive. It's a storm coiling, preparing to sweep through everything that ever tried to hold you down. Every rumor they spun, every manipulative grin aimed at you, added fuel to a fire that will no longer be denied. Think of it this way. A seed buried deep in the harshest soil doesn't simply survive. It cracks through rock to reach the sunlight. That's you. That's your power. And those who tried to drown you in petty schemes and false narratives, they only watered your roots. They are astonished because they assumed pain would weaken you, but it only aligned you with the force they cannot fight, the unshakable pulse of someone born to endure, to rise, and to shake the world with their presence. So, chosen ones, stop doubting what you've survived. Stop questioning why they targeted you so viciously. Endurance is your weapon, your shield, and your signal. Every step you've taken through deceit, every betrayal endured, every moment you stayed standing while they plotted, they built the very storm that will now sweep them aside. You are unstoppable, not in spite of what you've been through, but because of it. You've been forged in fire, sharpened by betrayal, and tempered in silence. The world might try to stop you, but nothing and no one can contain someone forged like you. Rise, chosen ones. Your endurance is more than survival. It's unstoppable power in motion. Number 5. Counterfeit thrones crumble under the weight of truth. False crowns never sit well on hollow heads. My dear chosen ones, listen closely because this is for you, the ones who've been laughed at, underestimated, and undermined by those who think power is theirs by chance rather than earned. They strutted around, pretending to rule, acting like the world owed them obedience. But here's the thing. All fake empires, all counterfeit thrones, they wobble, they crack, they crumble. And when they fall, it's not just a collapse, it's a revelation. You've felt it, haven't you? The stares, the whispers, the backhanded compliments meant to shake your ground. But every insult, every attempt to cage you is just proof that the weight of your truth terrifies them. They built kingdoms on lies, and you, simply by being yourself, are gravity in human form. You didn't even need to lift a finger. Your existence is enough to tilt their towers. They thought they were untouchable, that their gossip, manipulation, and smirks could flatten you. But here's the reality. Nothing built on deceit can survive the quiet force of reality. Every lie they spun, every betrayal they engineered, every stolen credit, they were stacking bricks on a foundation of sand. You, chosen ones, are the earthquake. You are the reckoning. And make no mistake, truth never whispers. It pounds, it roars, and it will bring the walls down. Ask yourself, why did they target you? Why did they try to dim your shine? It wasn't because you were weak. It was because you were too strong for their illusions to handle. The throne they faked was never theirs to hold. And now, as they scramble to maintain control over shadows and rumors, you watch quietly, knowing that time is on your side. The universe, the silent force of balance, doesn't need your revenge. It only needs your rise. Chosen ones, remember this. Their power is borrowed, fragile, and exposed. Your strength, your clarity, your refusal to bow to deception, these are the tools that will outlast every charade. The higher they climbed on lies, the harder they fall when the weight of truth lands. Keep walking, keep rising, keep showing up, because every step you take is a reminder to the world and to them that fake thrones cannot survive real light. Number 6. The rise of those who refuse to bow or break. They thought they could bend you, but what they never understood is that steel only gets stronger when pressure is applied. My dear chosen ones, listen closely. Every sneer, every sideways glance, every whisper meant to cut you down. It's all the soundtrack of your rise. They counted on your silence, your hesitation, your fear. They wanted to see cracks in your armor. But here's the truth. You weren't forged to bend. You were built to stand, to endure, to rise taller every time they tried to push you into the dirt. When they plotted against you, they were dealing not with a person, but with a force of nature. Your refusal to bow is a statement they can't silence. Your refusal to break is a warning they can't ignore. The universe doesn't just hand out power like candy. It grants it to the ones who survive the fire, who thrive under scrutiny, and who turn betrayal into momentum. Every attempt to shatter you became fuel for your transformation. Every insult was a spark, igniting a wildfire they can't contain. Ask yourself, chosen ones, why does their fear feel so intense? Because when someone attacks you, they aren't just striking at flesh, they are confronting the currents of destiny flowing through you. And those currents don't bow, they don't apologize. They surge forward, clearing paths, breaking chains, exposing weaknesses that cowardly hearts can't withstand. Look at the world around you, every lie they spread, every rumor they planted. They thought it would bury you. Instead, it's the soil that nourishes the roots of your unstoppable rise. You are the storm in the calm, the tremor beneath the surface, the silence that precedes the uproar. They laugh now, thinking victory is theirs, but the truth is, the higher you rise, the harder the fall for those who tried to clip your wings. So, chosen ones, hold your head high. Let them watch in disbelief as you turn every setback into a launch pad, every betrayal into evidence of your resilience. You are proof that the universe doesn't need to intervene to protect you. It chose you for a reason, and when the world finally catches up, they'll see that those who refuse to bow or break are the ones who rewrite the rules entirely. The rise has begun, and nothing they do can stop it. Number 7, a circle of strength, gratitude, and relentless continuation. The strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire, and the chosen ones don't just survive, they rise, sharper and unbreakable. My dear chosen ones, listen carefully. The way they treated you, the whispers, the sideways glances, the orchestrated betrayal was disgusting. Yet here you stand, not broken, but a living testament to resilience. That's the circle of strength you've been building. Every attempt to shame, every hand that tried to hold you down, every doubt they planted, they didn't break you. They created the gravity for your power to orbit. Gratitude may sound soft when your enemies were ruthless, but it is the secret weapon of the chosen. Be grateful for the lessons hidden in the sting of betrayal. Thank the ones who tried to dim your light. They are the mirrors reflecting exactly what you were meant to overcome. Gratitude is not weakness, it's strategy. It reminds the chosen ones that every attack was an invitation to grow sharper, faster, and louder in a world that fears authenticity. Think about it. Why are ordinary people blind to what's happening with you? They can't see the alignment. They can't feel the currents that flow through someone chosen. But you do, because you've survived the storm they tried to throw. You've endured the subtle sabotage, the masked smiles, the false praises, and in that endurance, a circle forms, a relentless loop of strength, reflection, and growth that cannot be broken by petty attacks. And here's the truth they never expected. Continuation is your signature. Every stumble they hoped would mark your end becomes your proof that you are unshakable. You move forward, chosen ones, not in silence, but with the force of inevitability. You are proof that alignment trumps manipulation, that integrity outweighs deceit, that being chosen means stepping into power even when the world conspires against you. So, chosen ones, keep rising. Recognize the circle you've created, a circle fueled by strength, sustained by gratitude, and propelled by relentless continuation. Let them watch in disbelief as the momentum you've built refuses to stop. You were never their plaything. You were the system they couldn't crack. Now you rise not because you seek revenge, but because you were destined to endure and dominate. Their outrage only confirms what you already know. The chosen ones never fade. They multiply their light. And now, chosen ones, after walking through the fire, facing the betrayal, and standing tall through every attempt to dim your light, it's time to close this chapter, but not your rise. You've seen the truth, felt the power, and recognized the alignment that sets you apart from the ordinary. Now step into your next level. If you're ready to embrace your strength, ignite your purpose, and show the world the unstoppable force you are, hit that like button, subscribe, drop 77 in the comments, and share this with every chosen one who needs to see it.